The view from where we sit is gorgeous, even if we don't fit inside your little portrait. The big picture is enormous, so we don't even have to fit. We after it, true purpose, yeah, we have to get. We mastered it, reporting it live from Black Pew, discussing politics, the culture, and laughing at you. Cause you don't understand the viewpoint, don't mean you up by a few points. You just ain't hip to these new joints we on. The world says to follow they pitch, we set the tone, then we knock it over the fence. Oh yes, it's gone. Them haters screaming loud from the bench. They get the bat and try to copy technique, but they miss the point that I mentioned earlier. I see that you observing the way I strangle this beat. Oh yeah, I'm a murderer. Enough of me, let's get back to this gorgeous view. I hope that you enjoyed the show. Welcome to the Black Pew.
What did he say? He gave her that.
He said, "Gave Raven that." Bop. He said she gave me that. Whoop, whoop, whoop. I gave her that. Bop.
Black Pew podcast. We got a different crew today.
We got
Everybody showed up on time except for Kendra.
We call her out. Kendra.
We're gonna call Kendra out.
She
come over here. What should she get on here?
Super late. Talking about she's gonna be here at one time. She already late from that time. She said she's gonna be late, and she late from the time she said she's gonna be late.
For the time she said she was gonna be late. That's how
Black folks.
That's how you people do.
We just got her 23andMe, and she is 100% black.
Yeah. How's everybody's week going? How was everybody's week?
Cool. New neighborhood. New neighborhood.
How was your week? We got a special guest.
Yeah, my week was good.
It was? Mm-hmm. You didn't fight nobody?
Depends on what you mean fighting.
See, look and see. That's
no,
suspect.
It was good. I did a lot of work. A lot of work at work and at home.
You work at both?
Mm-hmm.
You do work for both,
you
or
work
you work
at work and work at home?
Yeah, no, like my backyard.
Oh.
You got a garden?
I have a garden inside, but my backyard was cleaned, and I had somebody cut the yard and trim the bushes, and then we cleaned the pool. Did a lot of work.
Oh, you did work.
It was about to be summer, so.
Oh, she put her Rihanna in. Work.
Yeah.
You got a lot more people all getting like a green. They say they got a green thumb. I don't believe it.
Oh, it's finna be a brown thumb because everything about to open back up.
Yeah.
Everybody got time for that. Everybody had the time for that.
I just threw some seeds in the pot and some dirt and see what happens. I didn't put any chemicals, no fertilizer, nothing, and I have sprouts. But
I started a weed grow house like that before. Just some seeds in the pot. See what happened. No. It didn't happen. It didn't work very well, but
yeah, I'm thinking I have to fertilize though because there's like bugs flying around.
Yeah,
so we'll see.
Tomatoes are easy. That's one that you can grow pretty quick.
Yeah.
You know, that's code word where I come from for growing the reefer.
Tomatoes.
Growing the reefer.
Growing the reefer. It says tomato season. That means somebody growing the reefer.
You want the tomatoes? I got them tomatoes for you.
Yo, it's legal now, so it ain't tripping.
Still tomato season.
You can't grow. Well, can you grow? Or like in your house, you still can't grow by your like.
You can have a certain amount.
Okay.
But you can't go crazy. You go crazy
without the intent to distribute.
Yeah. You
okay.
go. So once they legalize it as recreational, the intent to distribute is bad. It's like almost like some like real drugs.
Oh, because they bumped up. Since now they can't really say you can't have it at your house.
Well, the government's selling it. If they're selling it, you can't make money off of it.
So now it's black market. You sell anything on black market, you kind of selling it. They hanging you now. It's like yeah.
It's a wrap.
It's a difference now.
Yeah, but you would think that all states would think like that. Like, hey, we should just legalize it and then just tax the hell out of it, and people would be okay with that. Like, you would think that other states would, because some states still fighting it.
Well, because you have the cartel.
True.
And if you're that close to them, where are you getting it from?
Yeah.
How you doing it?
they're gonna be like,
The crazy part is I work right next to this place called the Greenhouse, and they have containers of marijuana that comes in, and I'm like, if they're coming in containers, those are ocean containers.
Yeah.
Where are they coming from?
Yeah.
Like, how are you getting container and then you're selling it
well,
here?
All right, so they got so all the farm territory. As soon as they legalize it here, if you go out to Eastern Washington, I mean, it's fields. It's like, and you cross even when you go to Portland, they got their own. I'm talking about I went to do a job in Portland one day, and I'm driving on the freeway. I'm talking about I'm on the freeway, and I'm like, and I literally was driving in the middle of nothing but fields. Like, like you probably could have and it was that it was like that to where you could have stopped. Yeah. I don't know what would have happened. You probably got shot or something, but you could have stopped, and it was that close to where you could just I was like, that's crazy. Yeah. You feel me? But people is open. Like now, I'm from California. Back in the day, they used to just grow it up in the mountains. Yeah. And they grow up in the mountains. They just leave it up there. You feel me? You barely check on it like that. You feel me? Because you don't want that much foot traffic. And then boom.
Seems like everybody getting in the weed business now.
It's lucrative.
Yeah.
The government's in it. It's lucrative.
Jay got his weed. I mean, you seeing everybody. I'm gonna go grab it.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's everybody. I wouldn't get into it though. I feel like at a certain point, you got too many
laws and regulations.
Yeah, too many laws, too many regulations. At a certain point, when the government takes over, if they take over growing marijuana, it's like, what's the use?
Well, there's really not. What's funny is there's not a huge change. Yeah. Like the only change is that you can walk in the store and buy it if you're a certain age. But I mean, the thing is, if you were doing it in the confines of your own home, nobody really was worried about it. The thing is, you couldn't drive and do it. You still can't do it in public. If somebody wanted if somebody wanted to have a beef with you doing it in public, they could. Mm-hmm. I mean, so all those rules still stay the same. I just think that
there's actually public weed bars in Seattle.
But it's also what I'm saying. There's designated places to where you have to do it. You can't you can just walk down the street and do it if you want to, but there still can be consequences to that. Yeah. But. I mean, nothing really changed. The only thing changed is that the government realized that they needed money, and that was a way for them to dip in the pot. You feel me? And so,
yeah, I feel like they was like, we need this. We need to
make money off of everything that we have stocked.
Yeah.
I think Washington was like, well, we're trying to build this light rail. We need the money. Really, because if you think about it, nobody was really talking about it. Denver did it. Mm-hmm. Colorado did it. Yeah. And then we hopped right on. Yeah. And it was like, boom. It was like, in that year, it was just like, and now everybody's like, oh, well, we might as well hop on the train. To now they're talking about it on a federal level. So it's like, yeah, everybody want to get in that. It's like, once you see that bag, it's like, yes, it's time to get in that bag.
Yeah, like we could do it.
Yeah.
And it'd be just fine. Look who it is.
Hey. Look, once you feel me, the white lady and her kid and the dog. Sorry for y'all, but I'm finna. You feel me? Y'all I'm surviving. I'm gonna live to tell the story of what happens here.
When I get a dog, my dog's gonna be named after that dog. And
I Am Legend.
Yes, that was the best dog.
That was the best dog ever. He was the realest dog.
He acted like he was a zombie.
He was the realest.
And then he killed it.
He was the realest dog ever.
And then it laid flat like it was dead.
Yeah, he was a G.
Oscar. I would have given
it. G. Yes.
I would have given it.
I'm surprised he didn't get best supporting role.
I know.
Man's best friend supporting role.
Best supporting role. Roll over and play dead. He did that.
Did everybody see that video of the cop who rolled that lady's car?
Yeah, I see. I did.
She need to get stomped out.
Did you see it?
Mm-hmm. He showed it to me.
That was trip. The cop. If you didn't see it, the cop did a pit maneuver. Was pulling over this lady, did a pit maneuver, and rolled this lady's car. She had an Explorer, and he had a cop car, so he rolled an Explorer. And she was pregnant, And he gets out. The lady gets out. He's like, "What happened?" He's like, "Why did you stop?" He was trying to blame her.
Yeah. He's wild. He's wild.
But it's like,
no.
why do cops feel like they have to do stuff like when you follow their rules? They be like, "Oh, you should have followed a different rule, not the rule that we told
Even if it
him."
was a chase, just let him go.
Yeah,
like let him go, bro.
I think the badges became a new drug.
Facts.
It's a new drug. It's like they get high off that badge because, like that I'm telling you, like the situation is high level foolery. She was speeding, and he hit her with the blurp. He blurped her. You feel me? Christmas lights. And so, in the state of Arkansas, I don't know everybody's state. I don't even know Washington State's law. I didn't tell you the truth, but in the state of Arkansas, when that happens, you turn on your flashers and you drive to a safe place, but you turn your flashers to let them know you're not evading. So she had her flashes on, and he still hit her with the pit maneuver anyway, and flipped her car. I mean, he doesn't know that she's pregnant, but still, that's still kind of an egregious move to do that, at that time, even if she's still not going the same speed limit, So if she's say she's going 84, if she didn't speed up to 100, there's no reason for you to use any other.
And it's reckless too, because it's like you thinking about
reckless.
other cars on the freeway. Like he could have did a whole lot more. Bro.
And then to blame her.
Yeah, the first thing that come out his mouth.
So what this actually helps you understand is they don't know. Some of them don't even actually know procedure.
Yeah.
Because that's procedure. That's basic.
Well, he was in his feelings. That's what happened. He got there and he was like, "Why this wouldn't have happened had you just put?" You know what I'm saying? Trying to find that.
But that's what I'm saying. It's procedure. So, like if you go to a store, if you work for a job, there's a lifting procedure. So if you get L9, you follow those lifting procedures, you're good. If you don't follow them, they mess with you. You feel me? So there's like certain procedures that you have to follow to get certain results. And so she was following a certain procedure to get a certain result, and she didn't get that result because he didn't know the procedure.
But why didn't she pull over?
Because
it took her forever to pull over, and she was speeding. She didn't slow down. I mean, how do you know that she was slowing down? Yeah, you put on your hazards, but you're still not slowing down.
But she said she said she was slowing down, and the fact that she said that the median, like, they weren't in a good spot.
It didn't look like a safe place
They
for her
weren't,
to pull
yeah.
over. Like there wasn't enough shoulder for her to pull over into and for that to be safe. Because where would the cop have been? The cop would have been the shoulder was just big enough for the truck to pull over.
And then he pulls behind her, and then he goes to the right side.
But it didn't even look like there would have been enough room for that.
Go to the right side, yeah.
However, I feel like when you know that you're doing something, like you should just and you see the cop. Like I was driving to Lake Chelan with one of my friends, and we were both we were going like 85, and the cop came out of nowhere and was like, and she just instantly put on her signal and pulled over. And I was like, you didn't even know he was about to pull you over. Why would you pull? She was like, well, I knew I was speeding, and we both were. He went around you. I knew he was coming after me. Like, those are the type of things that I feel like people don't do. Like, you just know you're going to get pulled over. Or get out the way. If the lights are on and you're in the way and you don't think it's you, still get out the way. It shouldn't take so long.
But regardless, you should never, even if you don't pull over, it should never be a feeling where you feel like you're going to get flipped over by a police officer.
I'll tell you to even this point. I'm from California. There's been so many high-speed chases. I've never seen a pit maneuver like that. Mm-hmm. They have followed cars so they ran out of gas.
Mm-hmm. So that
Spike
they don't
strips,
have to do that.
All these type of different maneuvers. If you thought she was evading, you call it in. Say, hey, I got a car. I got a
runner.
Exactly. Yeah, he took it. He wanted to be Dukes of Hazzard, and he took it upon his own self, and he actually put a woman and her babies in harm's way. And so that is to the point to where I say the badge is a drug, to where you ignore everything that you're supposed to do. That you just say, hey, I'm going rogue on this one. I call the shots, like regardless on whatever structure you guys put in play, like I'm calling an audible. This is how we're gonna do it today.
Yeah.
You know, and that's when it becomes a dangerous thing, and that's where we're at, because that's why you have a George Floyd. That's why you have Tamir Rice, or what's her name, Breonna Taylor, and when people start to do it their own way and ignore procedure, and so I mean,
well, it's just like the cop. We were arguing about this. The cop. The cop that did. He was arresting a guy
for going through. Or
he was arresting a guy. He had some old warrants, and the guy was recording the cop. Mm-hmm. And then the cop decides to go in his phone and delete
you can't do that.
The video.
Can't do that. You can't even touch my phone.
And see, that's what I said.
You can't even touch my phone.
That's what I said, and that's what the lawyer.
That's only if you have a password on it. If you have an open password, then it's.
But you can't
No. Time out. Even if you do not have a password on it, he cannot take your phone.
Yeah,
and
you're in
go
police
through
custody.
It.
Yeah.
No.
Yes,
No,
you're under.
Time out. Even if they take you into custody, they cannot go through.
They can't go through your phone.
Yeah,
but if I'm sitting there recording something and I didn't ask for your permission and I'm recording and you say, "Wait, Ange, delete it," boom. That's open.
Well,
you can do that.
But
if that's the case, we
No,
wouldn't
you
have
can't delete it, but
half of these.
Cops have the access to your phone without
But
password.
they can't go in
They
your
cannot.
phone.
They
They
cannot.
can't use any of that.
No,
towards you.
For evidence.
No, but they
can't go through your phone.
I mean, you
at all.
can go through my phone if you have you had it in your hand and deleted it. Yeah, but what I'm saying is legally they're not supposed to do that. So that's what we're saying. It's not necessarily on what you want to do in your own in your own strength. It's about legally, can you do that? Legally, you cannot do that. You cannot take my phone. You cannot go through it. You cannot take anything out of it. Once you do anything, you done broke procedure. And usually in that situation, a good lawyer is finna get that case thrown out.
Yeah, because I think they're suing the police now because they're like, what can we do now? Like, he went through the phone. Well, and how they found it was his body camera recorded him deleting the deleting the stuff.
And
he's
probably gonna get in trouble for that.
Yeah, and it's like, wait, hold on, but he's probably gonna still be a cop.
Yeah, because that's not that level. That's not a level. So when we talk about like police abusing their power to the level, that's not to the level of where we're talking about at America, like on a national level. It's like killing people. That's what we're talking about. Killing unarmed people, killing just do, like people getting their just due in court. That's what we're talking about, So even though that's wrong and we want to see them do right, then I don't think that's something that is, you just lose your job over. That's like,
he's probably going to be put at the desk
you
for
get
a while.
Some type of corrective action. Yeah, boom. But you don't lose your job over that. Now, if he would have, if somebody was recording him doing something to somebody else, and then he did that, then now that's like witness tampering. That's tampering with evidence. That's a whole different level. Yeah, he need to go. But I mean,
now in this video, did it say or show anything about why the pregnant driver didn't just pull over?
No, she said herself. She said she wasn't in a safe spot. And that's what it is.
And so
she put on her flashers
Mm-hmm.
to get to a safe spot.
She did her flashers to acknowledge to help her acknowledge him, like follow me to a safe spot.
And the cold part was he pulled up, like even when she had her flashers on, he pulled up like
to the side.
Yeah, right on the side. You know
he was
what I'm
already
saying?
in his
So he was
mind.
already
His
trying
mind
to be
made
hella aggressive.
She was already
Right.
crossed the white line to pull over, and then he clipped her. But I forgot what I was gonna say. Never mind.
He put up aggressive.
Yeah, he was.
But I was gonna say I've got pulled over before, and it wasn't like I was on the freeway, and I'm in the furthest lane, the passing lane, and I pulled over to the left because that was the closest. I'm not gonna cross 4 lanes to pull over. And the first thing he said to me was, "Why didn't you pull to the right? You're supposed to pull to the right." And I'm like, "Well, you're on me. You want me to go all the way across over there?" Instead of right here. And he's like, "Well, you're hanging in the freeway." Well, I had to pull over. I'm gonna stop.
See,
if they want to hit me, that's your fault.
And see, I've actually done what that lady has done and not have that. But a couple of times I've like speeding, past the police. He hit me, boom, and I'm in the far lane, and I done got all the way over, got off on an exit, you feel me, pulled over on the side of the road, and then let him do his thing, you know, like, and not have no problem with it, you know. All he asked me was, you know how fast you was going? I'm like, yeah, about as fast as you. It is it. You feel me? That was it. You feel me? And that was the thing. And it even happened to me in Bellevue, and I was, at that time, I was kind of spooked. So when he hit me with the lights, I was like, I'm actually finna drive. I didn't start driving faster. I actually slowed down and I said, I'm finna drive till I get to a public parking lot. And so that's what I did. I drove until I got to a public parking lot, pulled over, and that was cool. Then I stopped my car and, you know, threw my keys out the window.
I did that
it was
too.
Cool. He was like, all right, you know, like.
You threw your keys out
I
the
did.
window?
Yeah, I just wanted to let him know, bro, I'm not running. You feel me? Like.
That's the thing. Like
I'm one of those.
I think that's a safe. Yeah, I think that's a safe tactic.
You already pulled me. You pulled me. I'm already reaching for my registration.
Yeah.
I ain't even.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. I got pulled over and was reaching for my registration, and he came up to me with a gun. He came. I was reaching for my registration, and I kept going through the light, and then went into a parking lot. Was reaching for my registration, and he was coming up to my window with a gun. It was like, put your hands out the window, and I was like, I was getting my registration. He was like, I don't care, you're under arrest. Like, went through took me to jail and everything.
Whoa.
For speeding through Fife.
Yes. Oh, yeah, Fife is bad. Fife is bad.
Yeah.
Fife is bad. You get caught.
Tacoma's actually cool. Like, Tacoma won't mess with you unless they just see you doing something blatantly wrong.
You spit on the ground in Fife, they take you to jail.
Isn't it Fife and Furcrest?
Furcrest.
No, Furcrest is okay.
Fife is so corny. They got the what's that old school cop show with the dude named, what is it, Barney Fife or whatever?
Oh yeah.
They got his picture up in the jail up in Fife.
Yeah. Damn.
They got corny.
That's wild.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah.
And then they tried to tow my car, and my ex-husband was in the car with me, and he's like, "You're not towing it. I'm on the car too." And it took like another cop came and then decided to let him take the car, but yeah, they took me to jail.
Man, I seen.
And I had just had a baby. I like 2 weeks prior. I had boob milk leaking, sitting in a jail cell. It was horrible.
They took somebody to jail. I know for throwing a wine glass at the floor at their boyfriend. Like they were in the house and they got in a fight, and she took the wine glass and was throwing them at the floor, and they took her to jail for that. It was the domestic violence, whole crazy stuff. I was like, that's wild. She didn't hit him. Not one of the glasses hit him. He ain't got a shard, no cut, no nothing.
Who called the police?
The neighbor.
Yeah. Our neighbors used to call the police all the time on us.
Oh, Fife is
Furcrest.
Fife is hardcore.
All the time. And they would come. What the crazy part about it is they would come and see that I'm intoxicated and my husband's not, but they would make him go outside, detain him to talk to me. I'm like, it's fine. I'll leave. Like, they knew I was drunk. I was falling all over the place, and I would get my gym bag and say I'm leaving, and they would say as long as one of you guys leave, and I'm like, I'm hella drunk about to drive, and I'm just leaving.
My husband.
Okay, go ahead.
My husband's been arrested for taking the garbage out in Linwood.
Because of that neighborhood, yeah.
Oh man, the Linwood police are no joke. They're like, he fit the description, took him down, booked him and everything, and he wasn't the person, but yeah.
But see,
there's been some crazy stories.
But that happened but that's what I'm saying. That happened in the CD. Like, I used to walk through the CD. I probably done been fit the description of a robbery probably like 15 times. I'm probably miscounting, like
just
undercounting.
Walking down the street.
Me and my friends, whoa, and pull all up on you like, what's going on? It's like, everybody, what's going on? Like, bro, handcuffs, guns drawn, everything. Like, you fit the description, like, what? You feel me? Like, bro, I got a job, everything. I got stuff. Yeah, for real.
Exactly.
Like, I ain't got nothing. I got stuff to lose, pimp. Like, what you talking about? Like, and then they do the whole. And this is where I didn't get is how do it happen multiple times? Because you got my ID now. You feel me? I give you 2 or 3 times. I give you the 2 or 3 times. You forgot the first time when it happened. I give you that. Second time, whatever. Third time, I'm gonna be like, hey, bro. All right, chase out Marvin. All right, you see the name? Remember. Next time you see the face, remember. But they keep doing it. They kept doing it, and that was just their way. It was like I realized that police played a lotto worse than anybody else.
Yep.
They hit you. They get your ID. So they can run that name. because they figure that 9 times out of 10, one of y'all coming back with something so they can get that arrest.
Yep.
And that's what it's all about, you know? And that was just the rundown. I moved out the Central District. I was tired of being like, my friends, they used to always be like, why do you always want to get interviewed by the police? I'm not doing this no more. I'm tired of this. You know, living around the white folks, I get interviewed a little bit less. But I get interviewed just a little bit less. Just, you know, they still interview because they know I'm their neighbor now.
Yeah.
If they see me, like they see me and they be like, hey, what's going on, neighbor? You feel me? They look at me funny because I come down the street beating, you feel me? But they like, that's still my neighbor, you feel me? And all the police stay in my neighborhood, so we cool, whatever. But you know, in the Central District, that was what it was. I think I got racial profile in the blackest neighborhood in Seattle more than I get profiled.
Well, that makes sense.
You know?
That do make sense because they, you know,
we're all there.
The whole thing, policing the neighborhood, and you ain't a part of the community. You know what I'm saying? So you gonna go in there, you making your assumptions. And,
you don't know.
Yeah.
But I think that should be. I think everywhere it should be mandatory. You live where you police.
I don't think that. I don't think you should live where you police, but I do think you should be familiar with the area.
And then you got to be familiar with the people too.
Yeah, but I think if you live there, it makes it hard for you to police. True. Because there becomes this line between policing and friendship.
Yeah.
You know, and I don't think you can effectively walk that line.
That's fair.
But if you didn't grow up with these people, yet you took the time to understand the environment that you're policing, I think you would do better work. Mm-hmm. You know,
there's also a statistic though that the higher educated that a police officer is, like if they have above a high school diploma, like at least a bachelor's or higher, that they're more likely to not racial profile, or you know what I'm saying, they have more cultural competency. So at least like from a police brutality standpoint, from murder, all of those things, those numbers go down the higher educated they are. So that's another thing too.
I believe that.
I don't think about that.
I don't.
No, this is from a PhD criminal justice dude. Like we was talking about this last night.
Yeah, but see, that's what I'm saying. I think don't you think that the smarter you are, you just find a different route? So instead of killing them, you're finding ways to put them in jail. So it don't look like, you feel me? It looks like because you're smarter, but you're not taking like a Neanderthal path. Like you're not doing it a caveman's way. You're strategic about it, you know? So like you are probably putting like, they were just talking about, we think about how many innocent people were put behind bars before DNA was even a thing. You think people weren't educated back then? Yeah, college educated people back then they were just found ways to strategically do things to benefit them. So I don't buy into that. I strongly disagree. Like, it could be true, but I strongly disagree because I just think that a smarter person knows just the way around. All the serial killers that you've had in history have been the most intelligent people.
They have been
the most intelligent people, and so we can't use that. And I think using that almost becomes dangerous because then we think that we don't fear the smart cops. Oh, he went to Cornell, so
but I'm saying
they're more reasonable.
But you also got to look
more
at it's data driven. So I mean, you can say that that's an assumption.
I hear where it comes from behind because see the thing is you have more of a cultural experience
more
because
diversity.
of the type of people that you're around.
Well, not even just that. You also have more tools to work with. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like if you don't have like even just deductive reasoning and things like that to work with, then the moment you see somebody and there's a threat or whatever, you sense like the first thing I'm gonna do is pull out my gun.
Right.
When you have that education, that background, that's gonna give you let me process through this a little bit more. Let me think through, problems.
Yeah, if you were a psych or sociology major,
it's
like
basic things.
No, yeah.
It's basic things. Like if you
do you feel like you should have a degree to be a cop, or do you feel like anybody should be able to take that test and be a cop?
Well, I mean, see, that's the thing. When you put a stipulation on something like that,
conditions,
where you put a condition, stipulations, whatever, same thing. Stipulations, conditions are the same thing. When you do that, I think that's also dangerous because there's people that have a life experience that may make them better cops than somebody who probably went to college. So my thing is that there has to be some type of aptitude test to tell what type of people are coming. What type of people are coming in? I don't think it necessarily goes to your educational background.
Well, it's also based off of physical, and they do all types of.
I was just saying, do you think that it should be the test?
No.
Do you think what it should be based off of?
At least some type of rigorous like training that goes into it when you're dealing with things that are life and death. Like the same way you would, a doctor or something like that, where it's life or death. I think the same should be true with like an officer. I don't know if that's necessarily a 4-year degree or advanced degree, but I think there should be. You can't just come and sign up out of high school and that's it. Just as long as you pass the fitness test. And I don't know all the processes of it, but
there's a you got to do what is it called, a lie detector test. They study
like a psych evaluation.
I mean, those things are obviously aren't. Well, I'm saying those things obviously aren't working because we still where we're at. So
because there's also other processes that they needed to do after they pass
process of elimination to let you in.
There definitely needs to be cultural competency training, and I don't know if that's happening.
It should be in a lot of areas, not just in criminal justice.
Yeah, across the board.
Yeah.
But see, that's what I'm saying because.
I only know it's JB, my homeboy.
Jay Sean Banks.
Yeah. You know him at Green River?
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah.
That's my cousin.
No.
He's actually from Chicago.
Yeah, he is. Yep, he just got back too. Mm-hmm. That's your people though? Mm-hmm. Okay.
What is his name?
Jay Sean Banks.
And he's a former military dude too.
Yeah.
So he got a PhD, former military, former police.
And he's 32.
30 young cat.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So
he went to the military. I'm not knocking, but I'm saying this. You know what
that sounded like a little bit of. Let's not
do that. Let's not do that. I mean, my man went to the military. He got the GI Bill, so obviously he got a head start on school before most people could get a head start on school. Let's be real. I get it. He took advantage of it. I'm not saying it, but I say he went to the military, so obviously it makes sense. Let's not hate on it because I said it. It's true. We all know it.
It was just the tone. That's all.
We all know it is. Well, my brother-in-law in the military, my brother-in-law went to the Navy. All his kids got college degrees because that's the only reason why he went. He wanted to take advantage of that. I get it. You feel me? I'm just saying. You can't say, 32. Yeah, he took advantage of a system that gets you at 32, that situation. Come on, man.
And you also have a choice. I mean, he made the choice to do the schooling in there.
That's like saying Bill Gates' kids, they got $10 million. What they saying? They kids, the daddy Bill Gates. You feel me? Come on. Now, I'm just saying, come on. It is what it is. Not knocking how they got it. I'm just saying it is what it is. It makes sense.
Speaking of Bill Gates, are y'all part of his fan club?
Nah.
Are y'all part of his fan club?
No, I ain't part of no rich person fan club.
You should be a part of his fan club, right?
He weird, bruh.
He trying
to get us to take the vaccine.
Well, see.
Why should we be a part of the fan club?
Because it's lit. It's like, I'm messing. No, I'm messing.
No, but the thing about it is, it was lit in high school when he was giving out your education. Everybody wanted the Gates scholarship. I had the Gates scholarship.
But they didn't like him.
No.
They liked his money.
No, I'm on the Melinda.
Melinda
Gates Foundation. That's why I'm on her tip right now.
That's why she
left
his ass.
I'm trying to get that. You feel me? Hey, she the sanctioned. She the jump ship. I'm with that.
They said he's now the largest landowner.
Oh, I read that
in the country.
I read about that.
And McDonald's
buys
their
potatoes
from farmers on his land.
Oh, I wouldn't doubt that.
But they're also saying that he doesn't follow his own environmental standards and stuff like that with his farming, and he's pushing a lot of the smaller farmers out where they're not able to compete.
Yeah.
So it's
his scale up so much that he can.
Because he's all about what's that called?
For Price is Right.
Yeah.
Mutating.
You know, Bob Barker used to get that jail money.
GMO,
Yeah.
I believe it.
So the indigent packages and stuff like that in jail, Bob Barker used to fund a lot of that.
Really?
Oh man, I used to be in jail. I used to call the shoes the Bob Barkers because you feel me. That's where he got them from.
Damn.
Oh my God, bro. Made money off the jail system.
But no, you're talking about the GMO.
Mm-hmm.
I think they, because he probably is working with somebody to, and I think this is all like we don't have proof for sure. Mm-hmm. So it's all speculation, but I think at the same time, it's not far-fetched to be like, hey, he's working, like he has the farmland, and somebody helps them.
It's all about
helps them
science.
grow, and helps them grow more crops, cheaper, that are more resistant to things. But I think also it's weird that we have a tech billionaire in the farming.
It's not weird
like that. Well, I mean, it's not weird, but it's a little weird that that's one of the things that he's like.
That's probably the quickest way to use your skills when it comes to technology, is to take a plant and reproduce it, or to take a horse. They're actually, like, one of the guys that races horses. He what is it, mutating? I think it's mutating. He made another horse exactly like that one because that one's knees were getting weak. Cloning. That's.
It's deeper than that. I think it's about making people dependent. You feel me? So technology has created a dependent mind state within people. And you think about it, when you in school, before you could use the computer or even a calculator, it used to make you do math by hand, all that type of stuff. You actually wrote on paper. Now you go into school, they learn everything on iPads and computers, and it's made a life of people way more dependent, you know. And so when you think about it, a tech conglomerate's mind like that, of course he owns that much land for farming, because when it comes to farming, crops, all those type of things, you people are dependent on grocery stores and fast food and restaurants and all those industries. So with him, you don't become that rich by not looking at what people spend their money on. And so exactly, it's just like Jeff Bezos. Jeff Bezos, he used to be a nerd with tape around his glasses, sitting with a Mac computer, saying, "Ooh, like, let me borrow your books," And now he a rock star and he sell whatever you want to. And so
he's about to go to space.
Exactly. People are, I'll pay $20 million to ride
I know. That's what.
That was crazy.
That's the one thing I don't get. I'm like, I'm sorry, but
you know what?
If you got the money,
same. I was gonna say,
because
you never know, the quality of that conversation too can make you about another 200 million.
I'm still skeptical.
That's true, but I would be more skeptical of the ride.
Yeah,
like
why ain't nobody ever really been like,
hey, but that's hella lit.
That's hella lit
though.
That's a good way to go.
That'd be hella lit. Could you imagine the Migos rapping about that? Going to space with Jeff Bezos.
Let me tell you what. I'm gonna tell you that would be their last album, because they will cut that album on the way to space, and they will die in a spaceship on the way to whatever planet they're going to. That's what I'm saying. Why would you do that? Like, Jeff Bezos probably not even going to be on a spaceship. You probably going to show up and they're going to be like, you know what?
He's supposed to be.
We scheduled another spaceship.
You paid $28 million.
We scheduled another spaceship for him next week, but you guys can still go.
And I'm getting a picture. That's going to be all on IG, all on my stories, man.
Okay. It would be like this.
And I'm going to have an NFT.
This was Sharp's last IG post. You know what I mean? He on Reddit now.
See, I don't know. I don't know. I'm not. But I think also they say a lot of people are like, once you see billionaires going up in space, that'll bring more notoriety. That'll bring more
validity
to it, and also that'll bring more. It'll make it more of an industry where the cost scales down. The cost keeps bringing the cost down. Because hey, we can get more people. If we can get one person to bid $28 million, we could get 100 people to bid $10 million. Then we could get 1,000 people to bid $1 million, and we could get 1 million people.
But this has been in the works for a long time.
Yeah, my whole thing is, what sense does it make to go live in Total Recall? Like, I can breathe perfectly fine right here. Like, you want to take me someplace where I probably can't even breathe? I got to wear a suit every day or something like that. Like,
they gonna make a dome.
But I think it's
dome on there.
I think
so you're gonna take me somewhere where I can't go nowhere besides in the dome? That's Total Recall. So you want a real life Total Recall?
No. Well, thinking from this standpoint, they're probably thinking like the way the population is growing. There's not enough resources at some point. We would have to colonize other planets.
But you're gonna go somewhere to where you gotta stay in the dome, and if you leave the dome, your eyes might melt out or something like that. That's probably what's gonna happen.
But what if you don't have enough water on Earth? You don't have enough food. You don't have enough resources, enough natural resources. You
said what?
If you don't have enough natural resources on Earth to survive, then what do you do?
Die.
We got to go somewhere else.
So that's what I'm saying. That's
Well, we didn't think about this when we started this thing on Earth. You feel me? Like we should have thought about that from the beginning. Like we gonna run out of stuff one day.
Well, I mean, and honestly, I feel like that's even part of the reason COVID exists, man. And that's my little conspiracy theorist.
COVID was population control.
Yeah,
it was like, you know what? If this thing, we're gonna let this thing go.
Bill Gates literally said that though.
We're gonna let this thing go through. And guess what? Mouth, huh? If you
That's
can't survive
it,
but I think too bad.
But I think it was if it was population control, you would not have had a push.
Bro, we got rid of
to
3
save
million
more
some
people.
Bro, what you talking about?
But that's not.
So you
That's
think the vaccinations are really to push and save?
That's not. Well,
Melinda Gates talks about it. I feel like that's why she left him, because he wanted to control population.
No, she left
he
him
talks
because he was
about
cheating.
that.
She left him because he was cheating.
I don't think so.
He cheated for a minute.
He been cheating for a minute, but they said it was blatant.
She left him because she wants some new. She wants some new.
She been getting new.
Well,
she been getting
she also
new.
left
she
because
want to be
of
able
the,
to. She want to be able to live with her.
What's the dude who died? What's the dude who died?
She want to be able to go
what's the dude who
surfing
was
with
in
her.
jail?
New.
Bernie Madoff?
No.
He Epstein. He kicked it with Epstein.
Yeah.
He kicked it with Epstein, and Epstein was like little girls.
She was like, wait.
Yeah,
I could take you cheating with some interns.
Yeah.
I could take you emailing them.
You're right.
But you kicked it with Epstein.
But she complicit, bro. We trying to act like she innocent, bro. She knew about all of this.
She knew
how long
about
have they been married?
That's why there's no.
want me to tell you
That's
something?
why it's let's just part our ways, and
I
we
think
have this paper, and we go about our business.
And I
I
bet
won't
she already
release
had
any
this plan.
information.
She watched her marriage. She watched her marriage like the stock market. She said, "It's time to cash out." You feel me? I'm selling my stocks right now.
The way them type of couples operate, they had that plan 10 years ago. They said on this date, this is how we gonna do it. We already got. I mean, you see, like
just like Corona.
He's transferring like $3.4 billion to her like weekly. Like I'm seeing some type of article. Like, you know what I'm saying? This was planned out. It's not messy. The media is making it messy, but you know that she ain't been coming out saying nothing.
To the island. She went to an island,
bruh,
to chill. To chill.
I'm just waiting for her to send me my ticket.
As long as she keeps her mouth closed, she'll get the money.
Yep, she send me my ticket. We cool.
But I don't necessarily think COVID was population control.
It was.
Because if COVID was real population control, you would not have seen as much mitigating.
I'm gonna show you. This is the proof right here. At the beginning of COVID, it said, if you're built a certain type, if you're built a certain way, and you get COVID, don't come to the hospital. Stay your butt home. Let it run its course.
Yeah.
Now, if you get it and it's taking it take a hold on you, come in and see us. Now, if you realize they were saying, more times than not, if you got to a ventilator, it was bad. You were more likely not going to make it.
Yeah.
So what the thing is that when population control comes, what people don't realize is it's you attack the weak. You don't attack the strong. You can't attack. You attack the weak because they're gonna fall first. So anybody who immunely wasn't going to be able to survive got knocked off, and you've seen that. So we lost millions of people worldwide. I'm talking about even in our country, we lost millions of people.
No.
Worldwide.
The country only lost 600. Right now, the number's at like 610.
The
deaths 610. Yeah.
Worldwide, it's like 3 million.
Yeah, where was like 3
million.
3 4 million. It's probably 3 4 million. Yeah.
He leaves 3 4 million worldwide. That's the huge number. 600,000 in the United States is a huge number still. I'm with you that the numbers are large, but I think if they were gonna,
it's a drop in the bucket compared to our population.
It is a drop in the bucket as far as the population goes. If you look at total number of population versus number who got sick versus the number who died, the numbers aren't a lot. That's why I'm like, if it was population control, they would have just been like, they would have kept with the thinking that only people who get sick, like stay in your house or do whatever, everybody else can go around. I think we wouldn't have so many mitigating circumstances. Because when the
People
pandemic
die
first came,
every day. We got people.
True.
We have people dying. We have people dying of diseases already. Cancer's already been booming.
Yeah.
You feel me? You got
HIV,
and you got police, and then now you got COVID.
And we ain't talking about cancer.
So no, but what I'm
Did we
trying
say
to say
cancer?
is,
Yeah.
You said cancer. My bad.
I just said. So what I'm saying is, you got all those numbers that factor in every year, and then you throw in 600,000 on top of that. I mean,
a lot of those numbers went down.
Because everybody was supposed to stay at home.
Yeah, a lot of those numbers went down, and COVID's numbers, it was like this. It was just like, hey, a player on your team, like everybody gets 10, 15, 5, 7 points. X player comes on your team and gets 75 points in one season. You're like, okay, like what's up with that?
But
Then
how
they're
many?
like,
but
that's
people
the
aren't
greatest
realizing
game.
how many of those numbers went down because those people who had those illnesses caught COVID. So you don't account for those numbers because you're counted as COVID. So somebody could have been succumbing to cancer and caught COVID, and now you're cancer. You're saying they died because of COVID, but they had cancer. So those numbers are infused with COVID. You feel me?
But a lot of it though,
Because that's what it's saying. Underlying conditions, you're not having. Most of the people that you're having dying weren't healthy.
True.
So when you're saying that all these numbers are diluted because people who are already sick are now being classified as dying of COVID, not their natural sickness that they already had.
but you had people who had diabetes. Like let's take diabetes. Mm-hmm. Diabetes is manageable up until you die. Mm-hmm. You had 40-year-olds who had been managing their diabetes for years die of COVID. It wasn't the diabetes that killed them. It was that their immune system was weak, and then they got killed by COVID. It wasn't that we had a bunch of people who were weak, and then their illness said, "Man, I'm about to kill you," and COVID gave me a part of the bullet. No, it was the COVID.
No,
it was the COVID because it was the COVID that came in and killed them. Mm-hmm. But it was the weakness that they already had that
Exactly.
helped them.
So why not kill
check
them
this out.
off?
I'll tell you this. George Floyd, right? He had carotid arteries. He had all these problems with him, enlarged heart. He had all these problems, right? Yet we still tie his death to what? To Derek Chauvin
to the knee.
So what I'm trying to tell you is regardless on that, George Floyd was already headed to his death. Regardless on it, his body was already headed to his death. But because Derek Chauvin came in it, now we're saying he killed him. So you could say somebody could have diabetes and that could be heading them to their death, or they could have cancer, or they could have HIV, or they could have any other thing. But COVID is what came in and killed them. Yeah. So now you erase whatever illness was there before.
No, you don't erase it.
But that's what's happened. That's what happened.
That's what they were told to do.
That's what
the
happened.
hospitals were told to do that.
No, what?
Yes.
Well, they talking about the death certificate?
Yeah.
Yes.
I'm not disagreeing with that.
So we're looking at it and we're like, well, all these other issues are, we're not fighting them. Well, yeah, we're not because COVID came. So COVID took over that. So the thing is
COVID
that people are still dying.
No, money took that
People
off.
are still dying. People are still dying of cancer. People are still dying of HIV.
True.
People are still dying of all these other things. And COVID is the cherry on the top now because now people are dying to that too.
Well, we ain't even talking about how many people died just from being in the hospital though too.
True.
Like people that was on respirators, them respirators was dirty. Yeah. Like the way they got cared for, people dying, bro. Seriously.
Yeah. Well, I mean, they already said. That's what I'm saying. Like they told you once you got to the point of the respirator, it was probably almost
once they intubated you, that was basically done until they learned not to do that. Not to do that. They were saying
the ventilators was what was hurting a lot of people.
Yeah, because it was preventing your own body from breathing,
yeah.
and it was just like,
So it's just a lot of miseducation.
Well, I thank God I had COVID and I'm still here.
Well, COVID's finna retire soon.
Yeah, no, it's gone.
Just like
I think it'll linger around.
Just like your boy from the ATL,
T.I.
No,
man,
he ain't retiring. He just leaving because he trying to stave off this court case they might have, or they're going to have.
Nah, he said, I'm not gonna let you do the King like that, man. In 2017, he said that he had 3 more albums in his head, and he had already had the album titles for him and everything, and so this is his last album based off of that conversation. He said it on the Breakfast Club. You got pull up the receipts.
Well,
He's got. Well,
I don't believe that.
Hopefully he's
timing is timing's a mug.
Hopefully he's not in jail.
It's the optics.
Timing was a mug. Well, yeah, but you weren't pushing this album, so you had all this work already. You weren't pushing none of this until all this started coming out. We didn't hear nothing about. You feel me? The final album. He too short in us. That's what he doing. He too short in us. He said this is how we finna kick it on the last album, and then he gonna wait to see how this stuff go out, and we gonna have another T.I. album.
I'm not doubting that he won't still do music, but I think he really is over this shit. Plus, he has enough money. He's got a whole bunch of other ventures that he's into.
True.
I get it. You get to a point where
Go ahead.
I was gonna say you just get to a point where you ain't in love with the music like that no more. On top of the life situations that you're dealing with.
Well, I think that's true, but also I hope he doesn't try to become what is it, like a civil rights leader.
Can't do that when you Bill Cosby.
I hope
you feel me.
Yeah, exactly. That's I'm like. I hope he does.
But let's not take away from what he has done because he has pushed the line.
He has done. But
I actually did a little bit more research on the Bill Cosby thing. That thing was a sham, dog. They did Bill Cosby in, bruh.
Yeah, because when he was ready to buy NBC,
he wasn't gonna buy NBC.
It's deeper than that.
He wasn't gonna buy NBC.
But I'm saying he tried to though.
But he didn't have enough pockets.
His lawyers,
he didn't have enough. He didn't have enough.
He was looking into it.
But he doesn't have enough money. Bill Gates couldn't buy NBC now.
I guarantee you he could.
Bill Gates
I guarantee
Bill
you he
Gates
could.
would not buy NBC right now.
I guarantee you he could.
I guarantee
he probably wouldn't.
I guarantee you he could.
He probably could, but it would take a lot of his money. Do you know that one of the 4
rated TV stations would take a lot of his money?
One of the 4
as soon as he
broadcast companies.
We don't understand how rich
this
man is.
As soon as he put the money down on that thing, it's already regenerating the money back. Yeah. You feel me? That's how big that network is. You know,
it's NBC, ABC.
Bill Cosby was not about to buy NBC. He could not have bought NBC.
He could have back in the 60s. That's when he was trying to get it. I think
he didn't have the money.
They just got the new
NFL
TV deals and stuff. They're
who?
NBC. They're spreading.
No, that's what I'm saying.
They're spreading it out amongst everybody.
True, but none of the people have. Like I say, Bill Gates probably has the money. Bill Gates. I'm wrong about that. Bill Gates probably has the money, but. And Jeff Bezos.
No, but see,
that is NBC is worth too much money.
See, the thing is, it had nothing to do about the money and the power. It actually had to do with personal relationships that judges and lawyers had. And so I found out that there was so there have been the claims of Bill Cosby had doing this before. You know. And then, you know, a lot of these have statute of limitations on them. And in order to be in the ramifications of the statute of limitations, you have to file the case by a certain time. Well, there was one case that they did have that ended up getting sealed by the DA pushed to get it sealed. The court sealed it. The judge actually had a beef with the lawyer, and so he made a motion to unseal that case, and that case is the case that started the steamroll of the Bill Cosby trial. So, all they had to do once the judge found out who sealed it, he immediately motioned to unseal it. All they had to do was be a different person's name on that docket, and Bill Cosby would be free right now.
They said they wanted he just came up for bail, not bail. I'm sorry, parole.
They denied it.
And they denied it, but
he's gonna die.
There was a reason. No, there was something he didn't do. He said he wouldn't agree to something or something like that.
He wouldn't register for like these classes or something.
Yeah,
like that.
No, because that would have been like admission to guilt.
Yeah, he never admitted to the
crimes.
They actually, he actually got arrested with very little proof, which rarely happens. But it was because it was a personal vendetta against somebody else. So.
Would you have 50 people testifying? And some of that stuff was so old. Like I think you have to listen to the victims, people who say they're victims of something. Like you take that seriously. But I think also, you have to like some people were like 50 years. Like I'm sorry. But some of that stuff, like I'm just like.
Well, there's still that statute of limitations. What 50 years.
That he didn't get put in there. Those were just used.
Those were just used.
Those are just used.
All those accusations, he didn't get charged for all those accusations.
It wasn't those ones.
All the accusations were just used to paint a picture of who he was, so they can get this one.
Yes.
I don't even think that's
so if you're a bully, they just use the 10 people who said, "Oh, she bullied me back in middle school," and you're like 40. Like,
matter of fact,
like what?
right.
Law and Order SVU actually has an episode built off of.
Was it the one with Chevy Chase?
No, but it was actually built off of this same situation, and so they had there were so many girls that had signed these NDA disclosures and all this type of stuff, but they had been sexually assaulted, and they couldn't pin it on the guy, so they had to find a way to get him to look guilty so that all these other women can come out and support. You feel me? And when they did that, droves of women came out and supported, he raped me in 1990 something, and it was crazy. You feel me? And it was so that's all you had to do is just sway public opinion. And that's all they did in Bill Cosby's case, was just sway public opinion. And lawyers and judges are humans too, and that's where we get caught at too. We feel like the judicial system, we do still have one of the fairest judicial systems in the world, but we do. You go to some other country, all right, well, you go try to fight theft in another country. You feel me? And see what that. Okay, that's what I'm saying. So regardless on your likes and dislikes of our judicial systems, we have one of the fairest judicial systems in the world, regardless on its downfalls. Compared to somewhere else, you feel me? It's one of the fairest out there.
It's like paradise compared to some places that are paradise.
So
have you had to deal with the judicial system?
I have many a time.
So how do you know, Trey?
I know from experience that once you hear about other countries and you hear about what we have going on, if you have enough money, you can still get out.
Personal experience.
But personal don't matter. If we're talking about another country, we don't have experience.
There's a whole nother perspective to it too. Yes, I agree. I've been to Mexico before. I've seen how they do out there. I would never want to even be arrested out there. So
True.
Colombia.
You get arrested for jaywalking out there.
Yeah, but also some places the police here
you get arrested
if you're
for
American,
jaywalking here.
They don't even have.
I'm just telling.
Crosswalks and stuff.
All right, I don't know. I went to Tijuana. They had some. I've been to
Tijuana. Depending on where you're at.
Exactly. Yes. So you can't say that they don't got that. I mean, you can go on the rural. You can go on the rural area. You can go on the rural area of Washington right now where they ain't got no stop signs and they ain't got no stoplights. So it's all based on geographic. So yeah, there's some places in Mexico. There's some places in the United States. There's some places in Cuba. They ain't got no lights, and there's some places that do. So let's be real. I was in places that did, and you didn't jaywalk. Because they was coming on the little motorcycles and everything, and they was making sure, because and they told all the Americans, once we crossed the border, they let us know. You feel me? Don't you commit no crimes over here. You feel me? You staying here. So, and I was 12. I'm like, I ain't trying to stay in Mexico. You feel me?
Yeah, you couldn't leave anyways. Did you know in Mexico you can't even leave unless you had permission from mom and dad?
Oh, no, I was with my parents. We was cool. We was good. You ain't finna keep me here. And they was trying to do it too. They tell you the toys that break and stuff like that, so you got to pay for them. Oh, yeah, I ain't touching nothing. You got me dead. I ain't touching nothing.
Don't touch nothing. Don't drink nothing.
Yeah,
they got that Flint water
in
Mexico.
But I think theirs is better because once you drink it one day, you'll be fine. Right. The people in Flint was drinking it for years, and it's like I got family in Flint, and
they probably fine. They just
have they fixed the water situation?
They probably
what it is that they got money. The city got money to fix the pipes. It's just the implementation
the money didn't get to the right.
Some of the money. There's still some money there. It's just that there was so much going on. Yeah, you gotta literally take out the pipes out of the ground, out of the houses. A lot of the houses, well, I won't say a lot. A good amount of the houses are old. Some are abandoned. Yeah. And you gotta. A
lot of people left.
Yeah, a lot of people left. You have to do that with the system, so you got to dig up the pipes underground, but you also got to make sure people's pipes in their house are good too, and the ones that connect to the house to the mains, and the ones that like you just have a bunch of stuff going on.
And they only got like 2 police officers, so they need to.
No, they got a lot more. Plus the county.
I know they got a lot more police officers.
My cousin,
they got like 4 police officers.
My cousin,
if it's a black community, it's gonna be hella police.
She worked for the. Well, there's a lot. It's some rich rich towns out there too.
So Flint got a lot of police.
Flint has a decent amount of police.
Get out of here!
Plus they get help.
Documentary.
They get help.
They just
They
did a
get help
documentary
from-
on how they had only
They
like
get help from Genesee
All right,
County
so
too.
no, let me be real.
That's
they
like
just did a
University
documentary
Place, though.
and they only had like 10 police officers.
They got more. They got
10
more
police
than
officers
They
that
got more
agreed
than-
to do the documentary.
No, they had
Right.
they showed they were inside the precinct. It was like 10 people in there. It looked like Brooklyn Nine-Nine. It was like the Brooklyn Nine-Nine cast. That was
That's probably one
It was like the
precinct.
real life Brooklyn Nine-Nine. That's what they had in Flint, Michigan. And then you had the 3 white dudes, you had the black dude, you had the mixed dude, you feel me? And then the chick.
Well, they get a lot of support from Genesee County.
Okay, so
which
sheriffs. Yeah.
they get from the sheriff.
Yeah.
They get a lot of support
Which
from the
means they don't
sheriff
got no
too.
police. That's the only time the sheriffs come in is when you ain't got no police. I know. I'm from California. Vallejo, they had like 2 police too, and so Solano County sheriffs had to come in because they had no police.
It's some police out there. It's just
FBI.
it's just a little huge. It's just a little not huge, but little ghetto.
Jalen Smith is out there helping him to fix the water issue out there in Flint.
You need to be
Well,
hiring some police
but
officers.
you know, even with that, because they got a water company.
Yeah, he do
the
got water
Smiths,
company.
so that's nice.
double dipping. You feel me?
It's a nice
Yeah.
move.
Buy water.
Yeah,
Write that tax on, writing them off. Like, I'm just donating all this water.
I know. Just donate.
Just donating.
I mean, that's what you're supposed to do when you can do that. You financially are able to do that, then you got to do something for the country.
I mean, but is
for
it
the
really
community.
giving it away if you ain't
It's not.
losing?
They're not losing, but they're
And they
still
probably got
doing
a contract
something
with the
good.
state for getting some cheap water from somewhere else. There's water everywhere. They probably got a contract because
But they're
like
doing something
like
about it.
Nestle,
That's
like
right.
Nestle's water. Nestle gets their water partly from like Lake Michigan, but also there's a few lakes in the state that they get water for pennies on the dollar. Per
Well, let's not sleep on the water shortage too, though. You know what I'm saying? Globally, like that's going to be one of the next big crises.
Well, I
Y'all better be
thought
catching
ice
this
caps was
rain.
melting in Alaska as to how we went low.
But I
water.
think, but we gonna have to find a way to desalinize that water,
Most
and
of the-
then we got to figure out what to do with the salt that we get.
I got a Brita
and
container.
the chemicals
The
from
majority of the water in the world is not drinkable.
Yeah.
I got
Like,
a Brita
you know what I'm saying?
container, so we cool.
All right.
if it has too much salt content.
you can't. Yeah, you can't. Yes, that water, they're talking about building some desalinization plants in California to help with the water.
Oh no, they misuse their water. We can't. No, anywhere but California.
Well, that's
they
what-
was the first. They had the first water drought out of all of us. We can't. No. Somebody need to supply them water.
Bruh, look, I'm just.
But to
look,
have them be able to in control of the water, no, they misuse
Zero
water.
0.3% of the water in the world is usable by humans. The other 99.7% is in the oceans, soils, ice caps,
Yeah,
and
there's a lot
floating
in
in the
soil, yeah.
atmosphere.
So I mean, you got stuff boo-booing in the water anyway. You feel me? Who want to drink that? You think about it, most of the world is water, so 0.3% ain't that bad. You feel me?
You got wars being fought over water, nigga. Like,
But I think
Hey, it ain't my fault when developing countries fight over. You feel me? We fight over money over here. You know what? It's like when you in the hood. Some people fight over petty stuff. You see people fight over $5 in the hood. You feel me? You don't see them at the country club fighting over $5. You feel me? So, you know what I'm saying? So I'm saying developing countries, they might fight over a bottle of water. You feel me? We ain't fighting over a bottle of water over here. We just fighting to not get pulled over. That's it.
True.
We just fighting to not get pulled over. I got a bottle of water in my car when they pulled me over, so it's cool.
You gonna offer one to the police?
I know. Would
Nah,
you
I
like a
don't offer
water?
No water to police. They got You cool.
you good. I'm not.
You might
yeah.
be blasting your AC all day. My AC broke. I got roll my windows down. Dry fast. What?
We all like.
My AC broken. You know? Being real. You feel me? Transparency. I ain't
You said, I'm not offering you water because my AC is broke. And you probably were
broke.
sitting
I got
here.
water. You good. You been blasting your AC. You cool. You don't need no water. I need it all.
Somebody was talking about, which one of y'all brought up the subject of gentrification?
I did.
What? I don't understand that.
How they're picking and choosing where to mix up the, I guess you can say, the culture in that community. I don't know how they're picking that. Like, you know, they've, like he mentioned in CD, they've been doing that. That's been for years. Everett.
Do what? What are they?
Just changing up the community, the housing, the education, resources, moving.
Oh, gentrification. Oh, I thought you said Jennifer. I thought you said gentrification. I was about to say
that's what you said. I was like gentrification. What does gentrification mean?
I don't know. That's not
So the redheads is trying to take over. The redheads is trying to take over.
I was like, because I'm like, okay,
Irish is that Irish or Scottish?
I'm gonna need somebody to define this. I was just like, I was lost. I'm like, I know what gentrification is. I know what
Bunch of gingers.
I know what generalization.
Bunch of gingers is taking over the world. The new Hitlers. This is gingers. I can't stand the gingers.
But on the side note, on gingers, they're actually scientifically proven to be able to take pain longer.
Took it on anyways.
And they
Googled
they have a lower tolerance. Gingers have a lower pain tolerance, but they have a longer pain tolerance.
What is a ginger? What are you talking about?
Reds.
Red hair.
Freckles.
Yeah, freckles.
Freckles. Lower pain tolerance.
So like something like ow.
But if they hurt, it hurts for longer.
But they can
Adapt to the pain.
Like they can what is it? They can
sustain.
They can sustain. Yeah, they can sustain pain longer.
Hey, but
so you saying Wolverine was a ginger?
No.
Hey, but can we say that all redheads is down with the swirl? Have you ever met a redhead that wasn't down with the swirl?
Because they like it rough. You feel me? From what he's saying, from what he is saying, they like it rough. That's it is. It's just like they like the rough lifestyle. Saying I can withstand pain, and pain don't got nothing to do with me. And then
Then you would say the same thing about black women then, because they can sustain pain.
Well, from science says gingers got it more. You feel me?
They said that.
Yeah,
gingers,
which is a little crazy.
Yeah. That's weird.
And left-handed people are handicapped. It's just the way it is.
Wow, bro. This nigga.
It is true. What are you talking about?
It is kind of true.
That would yes. It used to be classified as a handicap actually to be left-handed.
It used to be because they also used to burn left-handers and call them warlocks and witches.
I'm pretty sure you can still. Pretty sure you can still compete in the Special Olympics if you left-handed.
This nigga right here, bro.
True.
True.
But no, okay, you put on there gentrification, which I think is
the conversation we was having was the Proud Boy conversation
about gentrification.
No, that was opposite.
I thought that's where that conversation came from.
Yeah, but when we brought up the CD, that's when it got into
the gentrification.
Yeah, I thought that because he was saying.
Yeah, I thought that's where we brought the topic from when we was in the group chat and we were talking about. When I was like, oh, wow, I moved out to Pearl Island, and she's like, ain't that Proud Boy territory? I was like, well, everywhere Proud Boy territory.
I don't feel like that, though. Because I can go.
I'm about to break it down for you. That's what we want. All right, so check this out. You remember redlining. All right, so they used to have this thing called the Golden Ring, to where they would force all the people in the inner city closer to, like, the downtown areas, and everybody else lived on the outskirts.
Course, yeah.
Now you have a different type of culture to where it's like you have green, I want to ride my bike and, ride the bus and all that type of stuff. So if you've seen it, what gentrification is actually the reverse of the Golden Ring, of redline. So what they do is they're pushing everybody else out and they're trying to get access to the city.
Back in.
And so that's why you've seen the Capitol Hills and the First Hill and the Central District happen. and they push everybody else out south. The thing was going to happen next is that too many people are going to have access there. So now they're going to find what is the next closest access. So then you have your skyways and all that. And so that's pretty much what happened. They'll just continue to push people out until there ain't nowhere for anybody else to go.
Yeah. Right. And then there's going to be a revolt.
Yeah. And so that's why I said when we were talking about like skyways, like, well, don't get comfortable, because Skyway is going to become the new CD, because that's what they'll eventually take over next.
They push people out to Kent.
But so there's always a science to the madness. So when they push you into these areas, they already push you into these areas, know that they are combining a lot of people with problems already. Yeah. So you think about these gangs, they start to intertwine in these neighborhoods and things of that nature. Crime raises, robberies, shootings, all that type of stuff. So they can come in and say, well, we're cleaning up the neighborhood. Yeah. And so that's usually the key to gentrification. And so, I mean,
we cleaned up the neighborhood, but really what we did was we just pushed them to a different area.
We made people focus. We made people focus on the problem.
Yeah.
We made people focus on the problem we wanted them to focus on. Instead of helping these people, you feel me? We put them in a position to that we can highlight their issues. And then we can capitalize off of them, because that's pretty much what it is. Yep. Because the property value of those areas eventually start to go up to where we can't even afford to live in them anymore. So, I mean, you try to buy a house in the Central District now versus when some of these people bought them 40, 50 years ago. True. It's probably really, some of those houses are going for, the condos are going for $500,000. Yeah. So a house is going for, what, 7, 8, 9, 900,000. Easy, and so. Gentrification. Becky with the good hair. That's how she do it. I ain't mad at her,
But either
though.
way it goes, Proud Boys aren't just on every corner in every city.
Oh, they are.
There's a lot more. In these inner city parts. Like there's some in Federal Way. There's some in Tacoma. There's some in such places, but you're not gonna see them out.
Exactly. I was about to say you're
not gonna see them out in places.
They're hidden, but they're Snohomish, Puyallup. They are out in the open.
Suburb.
And
oh yeah, that's where they can feel. That's where they can feel comfortable.
Places,
yeah,
but those places aren't very built up, and so it's.
Once you start building up these, once more people start going to Snohomish, they're building more houses in Snohomish. Once they start pushing these people, because also they can't afford a lot of these places too. So a lot of times they can't afford to live in Marysville now. They can't afford to live in Arlington now. So they're getting pushed out that way as well. So they're like, we want and it's like, wait, y'all fighting us when y'all should be fighting the people who say have your back, but really they're worried about the money. They collecting this money from the developers, from all these people, and y'all worried about us when we should be worried about the same thing. We should be worried about these people taking our home, raising our rents crazy, taking the homes, and pushing everybody out.
Yeah, instead of like, and for me, I think that especially like when they were buying these, especially in the Central District, when they started buying people's properties, I don't think, as black people didn't have enough foresight to say, hey, what are we gonna do with all this money? And I don't think that the people who gave them the money cared enough to, just as long as they got what they wanted, And I do believe, like, and this is just, hopeful wishing, but I do hope that, going forward, that when we put, people who aren't used to having this much money in that position, that we tie something with them to teach them how to manage it, like, or if it be going into buying another house, like, or whatever it may be, or investing in business or whatever, because what happened with a lot of these people in these areas was they got these lump sums of money, and then they said, well, I guess we could just go rent an apartment for a bunch of long, and then they buy cars and clothes and all this other stuff to look the part, and eventually that ran out, and so you're sitting on nothing when, when somebody in your family have foresight enough for you to sit on that property. Mm-hmm. So somebody in your family was like, I'm putting this so that my family can always have, and you gave that away without even foresight of keeping the family's legacy. And so I that's the sad part about it.
Yeah. What are y'all doing, like, in terms of like your financial well-being and literacy and investing? Like, what are some of the things y'all are doing?
Man, credit repair is just the most important thing right now, because we're starting to learn that credit is power. And a lot of black folks didn't even. I ain't gonna lie, I didn't even start establishing credit until in my 30s. Like, I had no idea what the hell credit was. Like, people talked about it, didn't even know what it was. Thought you could buy everything cash. It just really did. And I even tell you, like, getting an apartment, because I'd be in a relationship, like, I have my name on the lease, but like, they probably wasn't running my credit like that. You feel me? Like, on being real, I didn't realize that my credit was even in a state of resuscitation until recently. It was like, oh snap! Now I put myself in a better place. You feel me? But had no idea, didn't even know what to do, never even had a credit card.
I'm just trying to get my numbers up. Numbers up.
And I just think that we didn't teach each other. We didn't teach that very well in our community, because
They're still not teaching it.
Well, I think we are doing it now, because people are starting to have this, like, day of awakening, saying that this is important. But I don't think that we were 5-10 years ago even talking about this amongst each other. Right. And so the fact that it's a conversation now is means that the needle is pushing. But 10 years with nobody telling me about, make sure you got a good credit score, and this will help you.
Telling somebody that your credit score needs to be worked on doesn't mean you're educating on how to do so.
But we didn't even talk about it, so I didn't even know that it was necessary.
No, we didn't talk. Only thing I knew about it was.
Since I was 15 years old.
Only thing I knew was that you had to use it for. You had to use it for, like, that was the one thing I didn't have. My mom didn't put none in. I think she did in my one sister's. The cable was in my older sister's, but for the most part, it was use it for your. You got to get such and such. You got to use your social security number, and that was your credit. Like, make sure you don't, like, pay your bill, but it wasn't really like, hey, there's a strategic way. And one thing I benefited from was I really couldn't get a credit card when I was younger, and so that helped me not be in a situation where a lot of people are, where they're in were in ton of debt right out of high school. But I really wasn't taught. There wasn't a lot of people saying, "Hey, there's a strategic way to build your credit up and to maintain it." It was always just pay the bill on time, and you'll be fine.
Right. But see, I don't even think, like, and I look at other, because I don't even think I wouldn't even say every culture even taught credit like that. I just know that other cultures would set their younger ones up to establish credit. Yeah. So they would, like, give their kids credit cards, and those kids will look at those as emergency credit cards or whatever, but they would use them every time then. They didn't have no financial responsibility to that. Their parents paid that off. But they were able to establish credit before they even got out of high school. A lot of people were able to do that. So you got kids that were coming out of college and they had the credit because they had already established it since they were teenagers. So they were buying homes and buying cars fresh out of college.
Because their parents were smart and put them as authorized users.
Of course. And so that's what I'm saying is that we didn't even though we still didn't teach it, we didn't set the next generation up to be able to live off of credit, because once they became adults, they had no credit. So no credit is just as bad as bad credit. Yeah. So if that's the case, you have a huge generation of people who didn't even had never had a credit, don't have a recognizable credit score. They can go to Credit Karma right now and that thing will say no score. Yep. They can go on Experience and say no score. They can go get their FICO and say nothing. It's not even a point. The accuracy. It's the fact that they can't get any type of They can't get any type of payment history on you because you haven't had no line of credit. So
well,
regardless,
you would have to have like nothing in your name, no phone, no place that you've ever had in your name.
A lot of people don't.
Like you get credit off of a lot of things nowadays. Literally, if you just have a PUD bill in your name, you're getting credit. If you have a cell phone in your name, it doesn't matter what company you got it from. You're building credit.
Experience Boost, right? You go do the Experience Boost. In order to do the Experience Boost, say you get paid off your Hulu and all that other stuff. Well, one, you have to provide your bank account card, right? So say you a person that doesn't have a bank account and you got a debit card. Well, then you can't. You're out. It immediately. You're immediately. So what I'm saying is it's all circumstantial because you don't have a lot. What are you talking about? We're talking about a demographic of people who don't have access to that information. And if they don't have access to that information, they don't know. Right. So they're only using the forms. They're only using what they know to get by. Do you know how many people probably still cash their check at Money Tree because they don't know anywhere else to go? Do you know how many people got or people who got net spend debit cards because they don't feel? And so that's what I'm saying is regardless.
Well, that's why there's Cash App and Venmo now and PayPal and all these other options.
Those are still aren't credit forms. Those are debit forms of transactions.
No, they're not. I get statements for my taxes from using Venmo or from using Cash App.
But see, it's just a transactional statement. It's not a line of credit. So regardless on it, even though Venmo they can't establish you credit by using Venmo or Cash App or any of that.
They can offer you a credit card.
Yes, if you get a credit card, you can. But what I'm saying is,
but they only offer it to you because they see the transactions.
Yeah, but some people don't know. And so what I'm saying is that we're in a time now where it's a conversation. But 10 years ago, so this conversation was on it. People didn't have this information. People didn't think credit cards were that important. Right. People didn't think establishing credit was that important.
Or didn't know about it just in general. Not a lot of people even knew back then. Even now, it may be a conversation amongst them. It's not a conversation amongst everyone. Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it still is a topic that needs to be spoken about and be educated on. I'm 37 years old, and just this year, put myself through a credit seminar. To learn
I've rebuilt my credit, not sat through one seminar, not sat through anything. I actually had a negative credit score. Ooh. You feel me? Hey. And now I'm sitting on the brink of 700, not sat through one seminar, not sat through anything. You got me? It's just about mind. You feel me? It's about putting your mind to it and knowing it, but knowing the information. Ain't nobody sat down and taught me how to do it.
But that was just your drive. You made the decision.
I just talked to people. I was like, hey, I just talked to little people. Hey, what did you do here? What can I do here? And picked up little things. I picked up things like little tricks of the trade, like getting storage units and stuff like that, holding them for a year and getting rid of them. Right. And stuff like that. That helped me. Stuff just.
That's the one I have to learn.
Little things like that. I learned, but I had to teach myself. Because if I didn't, I'd still be dead in the water. But it took me to put myself in a bad position to be like, you know what, I'm never gonna be here again. So what do I gotta do to get myself in a position to where I'm never gonna be here again?
Right.
True.
And so I got mine off of my own drive and wheel. But some people don't have that. Right. Some people have to be taught. Some people have to be led to the water. You feel me? And if they drink it or not is on them. But they just have to know that the water there.
Right. True. Well, on that note, we're about to get out of here. Thank y'all for coming. Another podcast. We'll see y'all next week. Like, share, subscribe. What is it?
Pew, pew, pew. Hey, no, we got the new we got our new social media admin in the building, Kendra, you feel me? She got access to the IG and all that, you feel me? I
defer to her.
I changed the password for her. And as much as I had to go through to change the password.
I know, right? I know.
That was a lot. I'm like, golly, this is the
I don't play
password.
about them passwords. They like, look,
Listen,
look,
the
bruh.
first password, I was like, I don't want to keep saying that out
Messy
loud.
Marv. That was
like,
let me tell you something. Messy Marv was my go-to password for a long time. And I thought that's what it was, but it wasn't that.
See, I was using Pokemon.
Oh my gosh.
Oh man.
You ain't gonna guess that. You ain't gonna guess somebody that's a Pokemon. Hey, you ain't gonna guess that. You can be like,
the new one's gonna be gentrification.
Exactly. Yeah, gentrification. That's right. That's gonna be the next one. What's your password?
I've never responded.
Gentrification. That's right. We'll see y'all next week. Take it easy.